Okay, late last week's news on Fisker did not sound great, and after taking the weekend to reflect and going through the various stages of grief, I'm in a slightly better place. That's right, after taking a trip down memory lane, I'm not crying anymore. Who's ready for a recent history EV lesson? 2012 and your new EV company, basically the only EV company, and for the next 3 years, that's right, 3 years, your finances are atrocious in terms of sales and deliveries. Your company is in the tank. 2012, you lose $396 million. In 2013, you lose $74 million. In 2014, $294 million. And in 2015, whopping $889 million. You might as well be called Mesla. You're sleeping on the factory floor, and you're basically a tweet away from bankruptcy. And we haven't even begun to talk about the history of your share price. That's right. In fact, while you are rolling in your over $200 a share now, you were once target number one of the cellar-dwelling short sellers. And come July 7th, 2010, your closing share price was $1.05. That's right, $1.05. And yet, you survived. So that's one EV startup. Let's talk about another. Let's leapfrog to 2023. And you're another new EV company started a while ago by a guy who left Tesla for a dream so crazy, he called it Lucid. You lose $227,000 per vehicle produced versus Tesla, who, remember them, the ones that almost died several times? They make over $8,500 per vehicle produced, the most in the industry by a wide margin. So while big OEMs and small EV startups are all losing money, I'll go ahead and name some of them: Lucid, Rivian, Ford, GM, VW, you name it. There's at least one that's become profitable and did it mainly via two vehicles, and vehicles that came later in their lifetime, the Model 3 and the Model Y. Yet, neither of those vehicles have the range of the Fisker Ocean. Neither of them have so much as a sunroof. They don't have solar charging. They don't have California or Hollywood mode, despite their CEO being the world's biggest drama queen. In all, I mean, hell, they don't even have the paint or wheel schemes in terms of options that the Fisker Ocean has. They're not as sustainable either. While emotion, I think, is a weak differentiator to market your vehicle on, the others are real and they're tangible. The Ocean is still competitive, and I predict there are going to be more of them on the roads, and I think a lot of sport models are going to sell in the coming quarters if they dedicate more production there. In a world full of inflation and high interest rates, lower cost EVs are the way forward. So here's how I think Fisker's going to save themselves. Keep expanding your dealer network strategically. Add about 8 to 10 dealerships a month in the US, 2 to 5 in Europe. Dedicate 60% sport production to dealer inventory. Nissan buyers are typically not luxury car buyers. Fisker or Halo sales at Nissan dealerships will largely be sport models and not extreme. And I think this also probably applies to the other dealers that I've heard mentioned so far. I know that number is going to change, but some of those dealers are not luxury car dealerships, and so I think the same model might apply, at least in the first couple quarters. Dedicate 40% of ultra models to dealerships, 60% of sport production to dealer inventory, 75% of extreme production to direct sales. I mean, this is what everybody wants. You want them going to your website, you want more profit, you want to be able to control the, the profits, and I think that is through the direct sales model, and it'll take a little bit of the pressure off of selling the other models through the direct sales model. So that's my thinking, at least at this point. I think also important at this juncture, get a new CFO. Fisker was once a family affair. It's now or never, and there's no more room for fiscal errors. Gupta's got to go. 15% workforce reduction is this quarter. Likely focus on the direct sales and any executive bloat on that front. This summer will be, probably the 10K service blitz. So you need to focus on getting the service model tight and right. So that's got to happen on the front end before June rolls around. I would say if we haven't seen a doubling in sales and a doubling in deliveries by the end of this quarter or into the next, then we probably need to look at another 5% of layoffs in the second quarter. And anything that's going to increase sales and deliveries. We need to get rid of any remaining executive bloat. And on the sales front, you've got to strengthen the fiscal referral program. It is not something that seems very formalized, and I would point back to the history lesson, Exhibit Tesla. Your best advertising is a happy existing customer, not a 30-second ad on national television. Lower your option prices. I've thought about this for a while. I'm not asking Fisker right now in the early end to reduce their vehicle prices necessarily. I think the easier thing is to reduce their option prices. And by that, I mean paint, wheels, carpets, carriers, etc. I don't think there's any reason to charge as much as they do for some of the paint options. It seems really inconsistent. I would just look at more of a Tesla model on that front and all right, it's a flat amount. It's, $500 for the, sort of basic shiny paints, and it's like $1,500 for the matte. I mean, this is a differentiator about your vehicle that separates it from the market, the color schemes, the wheels, so you need to make those options more accessible. I would say also you need to make the dealerships work for you. This is one thing that worries me, is that right now the dealership model is a little bit of the shiny object for Fisker, and I think it is exciting and I think it is a good news story for them, but they need to make sure that the dealerships work for them and not the other way around. They have relationships that Fisker does not have right now. Everyone from car carriers to financing to service on site, parts, etc. You still have something they want to sell that's different, and that is why dealerships are signing up. And I think that is a really good sign and something that gives me a lot of optimism for Fisker going forward. And again, that history lesson, Tesla survived. I think Fisker can too, and I think they can thrive.